This is Steve with JohnG.net and the Time Shifters podcast. I am here with Terry Huddleston, and Terry may have done for comic book art what was once done for soup cans. How are you doing, Terry?
Hey, how you doing? I appreciate that.
How do you think about that?
It's funny that you mentioned that. I'm very conscious of my Andy Warhol, Roy Lichtenstein roots, as well as other pop art, but those two were the kings. And so I'm very conscious of trying to keep that lineage going. Not that Andy needs my help, but, big fan.
That's great. How did you come at this style of art?
It was an evolution. It was one of those things that with pop art, you gotta be willing to accept tacky art. Okay, like with fine art, you're trying to push the limits, but with pop art, you're trying to do more with less. You're like, I want it to look clunky. I want it to look funky on purpose. And so basically, you got to reprogram your brain to go, you know what? The more, and you got to also go with customer feedback, but the more I do of a certain thing, like in this case, the dots, people will choose which ones they buy based on the color of the dots and the size of the dots. And the dots are the easiest part of the composition, right? But now, you think all this, but they're like, nah, that one doesn't have the right dots.
I got the right background, so yeah.
They like the dot matrix and other staples of pop art. So once again, just a little small anecdotal story about the tacky decisions you have to make when you're doing this type of artwork.
What you have become a fixture here of the comic conventions here in town, and what has become obvious is that you know a lot about comics. What got you into comics?
Well, actually, that's a good part of my mythology, but I don't know a lot about current comics. I just know. Actually, I kind of came in comic art from an outside perspective, which is I feel like it gave me an advantage because I looked at it as an art form first, and then there's stories that go with this cool 4-color separated artwork. So basically, when I approach comics, even to this day, I look at the aesthetics first. And then, if it's got a good story, then I'll read it. I'm not sure I'm not alone, people that go based on art. But even within the realm of comics today and yesteryear, like I'm very picky about what I like. It's got to have that cheesy, nostalgic Americana. It's the stuff when they dig up, 1,000 years from now that they're going to find, go, man, this is what comics used to look like. Because now we're kind of, because of the infusion of technology, which I have infused. These are all are digitally made, basically hand drawn on a computer. So I've skipped paper, but at the same time, I want to keep the lineage of old comics. So I'm kind of like James Cameron. I want to fuse new and old together and not throw the baby out with the bathwater. And I miss, and I'm sure you guys are the same way. I miss old comics. Like every comic is gray now with a grimacing, constipated faced man on the cover, looking as angry as he can possibly look, and this is the good guy. Anyway, I rant, so I don't even know if I answered your question or not.
No, that's great. That's great. So you mentioned about, drawing what people like, but what do you like to draw?
I like this stuff. This is basically, I drew this type of stuff because it was the tacky, cheesy artwork I liked from the 80s. When you go get a Superman bed set and it's got Superman doing like, I still love that stuff. I go to Walmart and I'm like, ooh, that looks cool. Look at this bag, son. It's got a Batman on it. I actually plugged to Mike McCone, one of the DC Style Guide artists is here, right over here. So, I went over and shook his hand and told him how much he influenced my art style, of Style Guide artwork. Because Style Guide artwork is very, It's pop art in the sense that it's full frame. It's kind of unorthodox because they're trying to display the whole character, and so it's got this thing to it that, for lack of a better phrase, dynamic comics don't have. Dynamic comics are too cool. They're too, streamlined, and so you lose that cheesy full frame aspect of comics that I like personally. Not saying that everything should be like I want it, but that's just what I like. When you see an old Superman picture and he's full body. It's not intense looking. It's just a cheesy sticker that you give your 3-year-old. That's right up my wheelhouse right there. So
that's great. That's great. So what have you got besides showing up at the cons here and doing this stuff? What else have you got going on?
Well, I got freelance art, but my big new thing is my wife and I and another business partner of mine. We launched a fashion fashion line of dresses, T-shirts, and other apparel. It's dye sublimated, pretty much just like this shirt here, but our own licensed images, and we're going to be unveiling that in L.A. Kamikaze Comic Con, and that's going to be November 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, I do believe. Hopefully, I got the dates right, Regina. Don't get mad at me.
So, if people want to check out your art, I'm sure you got a website online. Where can people find your art?
You can find my art, and this is a mouthful. thuddleston.deviantart.com. And any of you DeviantArt people will be familiar with the DeviantArt stuff. If all else fails, just search Google for Terry Huddleston art, and the first link that'll come up will be my artwork link. So,
great. Well, thanks for talking to us, Terry. I appreciate it.
No problem.